Hi, this is Justin at Trade Tech, and this video we're going to demonstrate wall framing with our Bid Pro framing for Planswift plugin. We got a couple different wall framing assemblies that we'll use here and just show you how they work. First thing we'll do is go to our location folders. Go ahead and drag over a location folder, and we'll use first level walls for the location for these takeoffs. Okay, so we've just got a floor plan here that we want to be able to pick up the wall framing on. So we'll go back to our framing assemblies. Okay, so the first assembly that we're going to use is just a takeoff assembly. And again, just like with all the other assemblies, we've got a combination of takeoff assemblies as well as drag and drop. So if you've already done a linear wall takeoff with another one of the plugins, you could use the drag and drop wall framing and just drag that over onto your existing takeoff and quantify those materials the same way. So in this case, we're going to use our takeoff assembly for our wood wall framing. And again, the assemblies are organized or designed pretty much the same way as all the rest of the assemblies are in the rest of the plugin. So once you kind of get familiar with how they work, then it'll be pretty familiar. So again, we would want to name the assembly something that would represent, the type of wall, the height, because again, we could go over into our assemblies and duplicate this assembly as many times as we want. We could go through the tabs, set up whatever type of wall we want to set up, and so that we could, so that you can, over time, you can basically build a library of assemblies that are preset the way that you've set them up, so that if you've got, same type of wall that you frame or that you take off over and over again, you can already have an assembly preset up for that and not have to go through and make your selections on all your tabs. So we're going to call this 2x4 by 10 foot exterior walls. And again, we've got an amount per square foot that you can apply just based on whatever square foot pricing you would want to figure on your exterior walls. The wall width here is just basically going to set our takeoff line to the width of the wall, and then we would put in a wall height. This is only for your bid calculation. So this is how it's going to calculate how many square feet of wall you've got. And then the multiply, again, if we were doing let's say we were doing a commercial building and this floor plan was 12 through 14, where we would have only one floor plan, but it may represent 3 levels, we could set our multiply to 3, and it's gonna automatically multiply our takeoff by 3. So then we would just click through the tabs here and make our selections. Studs 2x4, SPF number 2. It's a 10-foot wall, so let's just select 10 foot for the stud length. So you got your on-center spacing, your stud multiply, which, if you've got 2 studs every 16 inches, you could set your stud multiply to 2, and then a description. With the wall framing, we've actually got a waste factor set up for each different type of material. So we set our stud waste to 33%, which basically on a 16 on center wall is the equivalent of a stud every 12 inches. So whatever waste you want to set that to just for your studs, you can do that. And then as with top plates are the same way, where we would select the size, species, the material length that we want to figure it out of, how many top plates, a description, and then our top plate waste. Bottom plate would be pretty much the same, where you would select the material size, species, the material length, how many plates, and then a bottom plate waste percentage. Blocking would be your horizontal blocking in the wall, if you needed it. Again, any of these materials that you don't need in your assembly, that you don't want to quantify, you can just select NA and it'll turn that particular material off and it won't quantify anything for it. And then our bracing would be, you know, if we want to pick up additional material for wall bracing as we build the wall and stand it, and let's say we want to figure a 2x4 stud every 8 feet, you know, every 8 feet on center for bracing, then we can pick that material up as well. And then down here at the bottom, we would want to select the correct location folder for this material, which would be first level walls. So then we just go around and do our linear takeoff. Okay, so this has picked up our framing material, our plates, studs, bracing, and blocking. It's an exterior wall, so we need wall sheathing. So what I like to do for this is go down to the drag and drop assemblies to walls into the wood folder. And we've got some different drag and drop assemblies here. We've got a wood wall framing drag and drop, which is exactly the same as the takeoff assembly we just used. And then we have a couple wall sheathing and wall wrap assemblies. We've got one for a linear takeoff and then one for an area takeoff. So we would use this drag and drop for the linear. So we just click on that and actually drag it over to the wall assembly. And it's going to add this wall sheathing and wall wrap to the assembly takeoff that we just did. So we're going to name this exterior wall sheathing by 10 foot. So we got our waste percentage here. We can go set up our parameters for our wall sheathing. If you want an additional bit amount per square foot for the sheathing, you can choose that. Your sheathing type, thickness, your board size, your layer height would be, you know, just exactly that. So if we've got a 10-foot wall, you know, we'll choose, and we're on the, let's say we're over a crawl space that is, you know, 2x12 floor system, and we've got 10-foot walls, so we want our sheathing to come down and cover the rim of the floor system. So we might choose a layer height of 11 feet. And then how many sheathing layers is just exactly that as well. You can choose how many layers of sheathing you need, and then a description for that. And then if you need wall wrap as well, you can come over here and select your wall wrap type, a bit amount for that as well, and then set your roll size up, your wall wrap layer height, which would be the same as the sheathing, so it'd be 11 feet. We need one layer of wall wrap. We've got a description, and then also we're going to pick up our wall wrap tape with that as well. So all we got to do there is click OK, and then we'll go check our reports. So let's look at the materials by location. So this is a floor that we took off earlier. So this is the wall framing material that we just quantified with our takeoff. This is our first level walls location. And with our linear takeoff and then drag and drop of our sheathing, you can see where we've got all of the materials calculated. We've got our bottom plates, our wall studs, blocking, top plates, bracing. Then we've got our sheets of wall sheathing, our wall wrap tape, as well as our wall wrap. So you can kind of see how the report organizes materials by location with these folders. And then if we look at the consolidated list, again, it's just gonna consolidate all the material for the entire project into one list, so you could send that out for pricing if you need to. And again, these reports print directly into PDF or Excel, and they print out exactly the way that they look here in the layout. There's no exporting takeoff data out of Planswift into some other software or spreadsheet or anything to generate this. It all comes directly out of Planswift.